If you want to use AI to build a professional website for your small business, I'm showing you the exact blueprint that works in 2026. This short 3-step sequence lets you skip the writing, the designing, and the coding and still end up with a super powerful website that's easily worth more than 10 grand to your business in new client generation every single month. And I know this because I've been building websites for small businesses for over a decade, and this AI blueprint beats what I used to charge thousands for. Now, when you think of an AI website, you're probably picturing those one-click builders that promise a complete site in less than 30 seconds, except what you actually get is the website equivalent of just AI slop that's never gonna bring you a single client. The thing is, everyone's chasing fast instead of effective, but these extra 20 minutes mean the difference between garbage and something that actually drives revenue. So yeah, this isn't one click. We're actually gonna spend a little time on this using the right AI tools for the right jobs. But those 20 minutes we're gonna spend are gonna get you a site that actually works. Fair trade? All right, so here's a top level overview of the blueprint we're gonna use. We've got 3 AIs in a very specific sequence. First, ChatGPT, but not like you might think. I'm gonna give you my one mega prompt that makes it research your industry, identify what your clients actually want, and the actual words that they need to see. Then it's gonna use them to write your entire page in one go. But your website needs more than words. It needs visuals too, right? You know, a great logo, premium looking photos. AI creates all of it for you. So no more of this low-end crap. We can do way better. And this is really hard to mess it up, even if you have no idea what you're doing yet. Then finally, third, the website builder itself. And this is where we differentiate your AI website from all the others that scream, "I'm a template!" The one we're gonna use, nobody can even tell. It looks custom, it works perfectly, and you can tweak it all you want without knowing any code at all. And none of these tools are expensive. You don't need the premium versions. You just need to know the right sequence. So let me show you exactly how this all works, starting in ChatGPT. Okay, so here we are on the homepage, and the first thing you want to do is grab the long prompt that's going to be in the description below this video, and you're just going to paste it right in here. Now, I'm not going to go over the whole thing. It is crazy long and involved, but there's just a few things you need to know about here. So the first is there's some things you need to fill out. So you need to tell it the name of your business. So I'm just going to put in right here. Let's say we're doing this for like a career coaching business. I would just type in True North Coaching, and then here is a rough overview of it. This is where you want to just take a few minutes and write out everything you can think of about your business. Any brags you might have, the services you offer, anything that makes you unique or special or different in the market, you want to put it all in here. And this can be very rough. You don't have to think about your wording, just like it says brain dump here. Just get it out of your head and onto the screen. And then if you have an existing website already, and it's got some good information on there, you might want to keep this. If you don't have a website, just take this whole thing and delete it. But if you do, let's go ahead and just pop in your website URL right here. And what it's going to do is it's going to start with some deep research into your business and into just what your customers are saying online and all that kind of stuff. So in order to get that to work though, we need to click on the plus icon and click on deep research. That's kind of the secret weapon here that's going to make it actually work really hard. Okay, so we're telling it to research industry best practices. So what are the best websites in your industry doing that's right that we can kind of copy here? It's also going to be looking for voice of customer phrases, meaning what are the actual things that your clients are saying online? Not just your clients, but anyone who's in the market for what you're offering. It's going to go to public forums, Reddit threads, Quora, Google Yelp reviews, all that good stuff to find it out here. So what you want to type in right here is everything you can possibly think of about your client. What do you know about them? Do they fall in a certain age range? Are they more male than female or vice versa? If you're B2B, what's their job title? What kind of businesses do they work for? Again, this is a rough brain dump. Just get it all here, whatever you can think of. And then it's going to find all this stuff. Then it's going to write your homepage according to what it finds. And it's even going to work in a lot of those real voice of customer phrases so that you can better connect with the people coming to your website. This is key. This is what so many businesses miss. They want to talk about their business from their point of view, but really you got to talk about it from the way your customers see it, their problems, their dream outcomes, all that good stuff. Okay, then you're going to click on the start button here, and it's going to go. And what it always does, it's going to come back with a couple questions that you just need to answer for yourself. Again, you don't need to spend a whole lot of time answering. Just answer them as best you can, and then you're going to let it run again. And it's probably going to take up to 20 minutes to get this done, which just means it's being extra thorough. It's actually going out on these real sites and finding what it needs to find for you. So rather than waiting on that to finish, let's go ahead and start on our next step, which is going to be getting your web builder set up. Okay, so this is Hostinger, and I consider this to be the best AI web builder on the market right now. And if you follow my link, which is wesmcdowell.com/Hostinger AI Builder, and if you follow that link, you're gonna see that the Wes discount code is applied here. So this is gonna get you your best deal. It is a Black Friday sale right now. It might not be by the time you get here, but with that code and with the link, you're still gonna get the best possible deal of the moment. So, and as part of this, you actually get 3 extra months and a free domain. I think normally it's 2 extra months, so I think we get an extra one here for Black Friday. You do normally get a free domain with it as well, which means that's like your web address. So that's a really good inclusion to have. A lot of other places will charge extra for that. So let's click on Claim Deal. And then we've got 2 choices here. We've got the premium website builder and the business website builder. I do like the business one. I tend to go for that one just because it's a lot faster. They do have what's called a CDN on that. So it's like no matter where you are in the world, it's just gonna load a lot faster. So when we're talking about less than $1 extra a month, I like to go with the better version. So I'm just gonna click on Choose Plan. Now you just have to decide how long you want this to apply for. So obviously, the further out you go, the more savings you're gonna get for longer. So I'm just gonna choose 48 months. And again, we still do get our free domain and 3 free months, which is great. And if you did need a domain, you would just type in here the one you want. So it would be like, truenorthcoaching.com, and then you just see it's available and you would just choose something that is available from the list. But we're not gonna go through that process right now. So you can see this is down from 671 down to 142 for 4 years of hosting. That's not bad. So let's click on Continue. Then you just put in your billing and your payment information and you're good to go. And then when you're presented with these options, you're gonna choose the Hostinger website builder. So now it's going to get started. And from here, you're just gonna put in a couple things, your business name, and you're gonna put in a bit of a description here. Doesn't matter too much because we're getting our copy from ChatGPT anyway. So I would just tell a little bit about your business just so it knows a general rough frame that, that would probably serve your website the best. And once you're done with that, just click on Create a Website. So now it's basically putting it all together for you. It's kind of putting up together the rough layout. And it's also going to be finding images and writing some copy for you. But again, we're going to be replacing all the copy and some of the sections too. So let's just wait for it to run. Okay, so this is what we've got to begin with. This is just our starting point, okay? So we've got a nice hero section, which is a kind of a gradient in the background. Sometimes it'll have a photo back there. This time it's just a gradient, so it doesn't matter, we're gonna be replacing this anyway. And then we've got all these sections here. And I want to show you in the course of this how easy it is to change stuff to fit what we actually need our website to be. So ChatGPT is gonna be giving us exactly the content that's gonna do the best job. Now we just have to work with the web builder to put in all the sections that are gonna best honor that content. So it's super easy to do and fun and pretty satisfying to see it all come together too. So our first step here is just gonna be choosing a rough color palette. So you've got all these choices over here. If you play around with it, it's just gonna, you'll see the different colors kind of reflect in, which is nice because it keeps your colors kind of safe, and you can't go too far out of bounds if you just stick to the colors they give you. Otherwise, if you start adding a bunch of colors, it can start to feel a little crazy. But I might choose this one with the green. I think that's kind of nice for a career coaching company. So we'll start there and then click on Continue. Okay, so here we get to the actual editor where we can start moving things around, adding new content, adding new images, and getting it looking exactly how we want it to look. Now you can either go really simple and just kind of go with the colors that you already picked out and all that good stuff in the fonts, or if you're feeling a little more bold and you've got a website you like for kind of look and feel and you would like to use it as an inspiration point, you can absolutely do that as well. So for instance, I've got one right here that I pulled up that I think would be a cool look to kind of emulate as we go through this. It's just nice and clean, feels trustworthy, simple use of colors, a few greens here and some kind of just very neutral colors. So I'm gonna use this as kind of a jumping off point for our new website. So then how do we get this site to look more like this one? Well, let's just go one step at a time, and we actually need to start with our content. So let's check back in with ChatGPT and see how the content is coming. Okay, so it took 12 minutes, it looks like, to finish, and we've got all this kind of preliminary information of stuff that it found. What we're really looking for here is just the home page copy here. So we've got it starting here. We've got 2 headline options, and I think I like the first one, break through your career ceiling. Probably leave this part out. I just think the first part is pretty good. I'm gonna copy that. And we'll go back over here, and I want to show you now how you can actually start changing stuff on your website. So we've got our new headline, we've copied it. Now all we need to do is click on this headline, edit text, and let's just highlight it all, and I'm going to paste it in like that. And by the way, I think that these fonts do a pretty good job of matching with our inspiration site, so I'm fine with it, but I will show you how we can very easily change fonts around on your site. So let's just go over to Styles, and then Fonts, and then here it's got all these really nice combinations that it's pre-picked out for you, because if you're a non-designer, sometimes it can be hard to know what fonts go well together. So you really can't go wrong if you choose something here. Just, obviously make sure it fits the overall, feel of your brand. If we choose this one, you can kind of see like it automatically changes, and then it would change all the fonts on the whole page. So, but I'm just gonna go back to how we had it. I thought that was nice. And then I'll X out of here. Okay, so we've changed our headline. Now let's get our subheadline. So we'll go back here. Okay, so here is our subhead right here. I'm just gonna copy that. And then I'll click here, edit text, and then we'll paste it all in just like that. And then what about our button? So get started is generally not the best kind of call to action. It's a little vague. So let's see, we've got schedule my free strategy call, which I like a lot better. It's much more specific. So we're gonna click on the button, and then we're just going to click edit button, and then button text, we're just gonna paste in what we've got. Now, you can see there's a problem here because that doesn't fit in our button. But they make it really easy to actually change this. All you have to do is kind of put your cursor over the handle here and just kind of drag it out. Like you could make it as big as you want. I think this looks pretty nice, just like that. And then we just want to make sure we recenter it back with the rest of the text. So once you see that yellow line pop up, that's how you know. And now we've got this extra bit down here, these boxes and these kind of services, I guess, or just things that the business does. I'm not crazy about these boxes, so I want to show you how you can easily delete things, because you're definitely not stuck with what they give you. So if I click right here, just gonna click the trash can, and we'll do the same for here and for here. Now, I think what I like here is just the top lines here, strategy, mentorship, networking. I don't think we need the descriptions. And if you wanted it, you know how to change the text by now. So I'm just gonna delete that subheadline and this one and this one. And let's go ahead and let's just get these all in line with each other. So luckily, you can't go too far out of bounds. Like it's easy to kind of stay in your lane here if you just kind of go slow, and it'll show you that you're actually lined up with other elements too, which is nice. So I'm just gonna drag this down till it looks like it's about right. Okay, so we're getting somewhere with this first section, but what about the image? What about the colors and all that kind of stuff? So let's go ahead and style this up so that it does look a little bit more like our inspiration site here. So the first thing we want to do is go to Midjourney. This is the best image generation AI tool that there is. I love using it. We just need to type in exactly what we want to see. So I typed in man having a very good job interview with a female interviewer. They're talking in a natural way in a modern wood-clad boardroom. Both people are on the right side of the image with dark wood on the left side. Now, Doesn't always honor when you ask for something specific on the left and the right. It's kind of a crapshoot, but we'll see what it does. But a few things to keep in mind here. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to type in -- and then the word raw. What this does is it makes it so that the images are not going to have like an Instagram-y kind of filter on them. We want them just to look like normal, straight down the middle photos so that they're easily matched. So everything on the website will look kind of similar. We also want to click on where it says settings, and we want to make sure that we get the right dimensions of this. So I think 16:9 is going to be pretty good to fit in here. That seems like about right to me. But you can, your mileage may vary depending on what you need it for. You can even do, portrait, and then you go all the way over to landscape. So 16:9 is what I think we need. Make sure we're on version 7. It's a lot better. And then from here, I'm going to do one last trick, and that is --R, which stands for repeat. And I'm going to type in 3. Now what that does, normally when you do it, if you do it without that, it'll give you 4 images. This multiplies it by 3. So now we'll get 12, and we can just really easily, we can have a lot of options. So I'm just going to let that run. We'll go over to create to see what we've got here. And it goes pretty fast, but let's just, I'll catch back up with you when they're all done. Okay, and we have some good choices here. It didn't do the thing where I wanted it kind of did it here where the people are on this side and there's a little bit of space, but it's not perfect. You can keep going as many times as you want till you get what you want. So I think I really like this image right here. Let's go ahead and go with this one. And let's go ahead and click this button to download it. All right, so now we're back on our website. So the way we replace this green background with our image is just click anywhere on the section, then edit section. So under background, we've got some options. So obviously we have color now. So it's just a section color. We can click here. We can pretty much get any color we want. So that's pretty easy. We'll do a little bit more of that later. You can do a gradient too, like between 2 different colors. That can look a little bad if you don't know what you're doing. So I'd probably recommend staying away from that for the most part. Or we can do an image, which is what we're going to do. Or you can do a video. If you really wanted to do that, you could. You just click on replace video and you just type in anything like office or whatever subject matter you want it to be. And there's all these preloaded videos. Some of them look okay. Some of them look a little kind of cheesy and stocky, so it's up to you. I prefer just to get a really nice one for Midjourney like we did. So I'm gonna go to image, add image, and then I'm just gonna take our photo that we got and drag it over, and then we'll click on select. All right, so it looks pretty good, but we can definitely see that some things should probably be moved around. Ideally, all this would be kind of over here so that we can really see our subject clearly. So it's really easy to move stuff. We already did this a little bit. All we need to do is just basically, I'll just take this and move it all the way over to the side and maybe to about right there. Then this one, I'll keep it centered and I'll just move it right in line with that. And then here, I'll move it all the way over. And then same thing, so they're all in a nice row. Then let's go ahead and take our button and move it over here. We'll just kind of do a rough draft of this first. And now to take a look at our inspiration site, everything is pretty much more or less left justified. You can see that. So that's what we're gonna try to do here too. We're just gonna click on the headline first. Let's do edit text. And then right here where we have text alignment, I'm gonna choose left justified. And I'm probably going to make the text a little smaller too. I think it's kind of big, so let's see what maybe 64 looks like. I think that's a little bit better. And then we'll click right here, these more options dots, and then line height is what we want to do here. So right now I feel like they're a little too far apart. So I'm gonna get it closer, but there's a quirk here where if you get it too close, it cuts off. You see how it's cutting off there? We don't want that. So let's make it just tall enough to where it does not do that. And then for the subheading here, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna click there, edit text, and then text alignment, I'm gonna set it to the left. And then we could play around with dragging this out a little bit so it's on fewer lines maybe. Yeah, I think this looks a little bit better. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this whole thing and maybe just bring it down a bit. We're just eyeballing it at this point. There's no right or wrong, it's just how does it look good to you? So I think this looks pretty nice. One thing I can see though already This text is a little hard to read. I would like the background to be slightly darker. So how do we do that? Well, we go to Edit Section, and then we still have Image. Here we have, it's called Overlay Opacity. So an overlay is just basically a black overlay that's put on top of it. So we don't want it to be here, right? We want it to be more, we just want it to be at the right place where the text becomes really easy to read. So somewhere like that, I think looks pretty good. All right, nice, I'm liking that. Now, what do we have here? So we have a nice kind of lime green button here. So in order to replicate that, I'm gonna show you something really cool. So if we go back to our site, and then I'm gonna open up this site in kind of another window. So it's gonna look a little chaotic for a second here, but here's what we wanna do. So we're gonna choose the button, and then we're gonna go to Edit button again. And we're gonna go to Style, and then Fill Color. So we're gonna click Fill Color. You can do all these things. You can choose one of the green colors we already have, or one of these colors we already have. You can do the slider. You can do whatever you want. But here's the cool part. You can click Pick a Color, and then we can go over here and just kind of steal that color. So I think that's pretty cool. So that's what we're gonna do. And the cool thing is now that color is gonna be up here, so you'll be able to use it again. Okay, so for text color, we're just gonna make that probably like a black or something, so it's really easy to read. And we will get rid of the border. So border width is set to 1. We're just gonna set that to 0. No border. And then corner radius, so this is where you get that kind of pill shape versus a rectangle. So that's a rectangle. And then corner radius, you drag that all the way up. Now we have that, pill shape. So lots of stuff you can do. And you also see when you mouse over this, there's kind of a hover state. And the way we change that is we go over to hover. So we could change that to black, and then we hover over it, and that's what we get. Pretty cool. And I might just move that up slightly. It's looking good. Okay, so before we move on to the rest of the page, we need to talk about our logo. So right now it's just this really simple image that they made with AI. You can also do text. So we could type in True North Coaching, and we can change the font to whatever we want. Now, the cool thing is you do have access to all of these Google fonts. There's literally thousands of them. It can actually be kind of overwhelming, to be honest. But you can do that. You can make it whatever size you want. You can change the color, all that good stuff. Or you can actually use AI to make you a really cool looking logo. Okay, so this is basically Google's version of ChatGPT. It's called Gemini 2.5 Pro, otherwise known as Nano Banana. You may have heard of that. That's their image generation tool. So we're gonna go click on Create Image, and then I'm just gonna type in something like, create a simple, modern, clean logo for True North Coaching. True North on the top line, big, coaching on the second line, smaller. On the left side, a green compass graphic. Make the logo horizontal, perfect for a website header bar. Oh, and then I would probably also say solid white background. And then we're just make sure that image is selected here, and then let's let it run. Okay, and this is what we got back. I think it looks pretty good. So we just wanna click right here to download it. Okay, so then we're just gonna click on the logo here, and we're gonna go away from text over to image, then replace image, and then we'll just drag our new logo right over like that, and then select. All right, looks pretty good. And then we can change the logo width like this. Just kind of drag it over. That's probably too big. I think something like this looks pretty good to me. And then if you think there's too much space on the top and bottom, we can just click on the header, edit header. And then on top and bottom spacing, we can kind of tighten that up a bit, but you don't want it too tight like that. Probably this looks nice to me. It doesn't take up too much vertical height, but it's got enough room to breathe, Okay, cool. Let's move on to our next section. So the first thing we need to see though is what did ChatGPT tell us we needed for the site? So our next section is what we call a problem section. So it's basically, it's got a nice headline that's painting the problem they're facing, and then we've got these paragraphs. So that's all we need to show. Problem, and we want to do that pretty simply. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to copy our headline here. And I don't think this is the right section to actually do what we need to do. So it's super easy to add something new though with these templates. So let's just click right here on Add Section. And all these sections are put into neat categories. So we got main, we've got about. About's probably what we need here. Services, contact forms, there's all kinds of stuff. But I think about is probably what we need. I just want something super simple, just text only for this. Gonna click there. All right, that's perfect. So I'm just gonna double click on the text, edit text, and I'm gonna paste in our headline. And then back in ChatGPT, I'm going to grab the paragraphs and copy those, edit text. It's gonna choose all of that and paste it in. Cool, looks good. And I'm going to get rid of our button here. I don't think we need that one. Right click, delete. Now you may notice there's less space here than there is here. So what we probably want to do, there's a few things you can do, right? We could take all of this and like center it more, but I'm going to Command Z and undo that. The better thing to do probably is to just take this section height bar and just drag it. We're just going to eyeball it. We're not going to be too scientific here, just to kind of make it more or less even. And what about the background? So white looks perfectly fine, right? I wouldn't have a problem with that, but I do just want to show you all your options. So if we click the section, edit section, background, let's pick a different color, like a nice neutral color. And I think let's grab it from our inspiration site. Okay, so now that I have them open side by side, we're just going to click on color and then section color and then pick color. I'm just going to grab this nice like beige color right here. All right, that looks pretty good. So now let's go back over to ChatGPT, and then we've got our next section. So this is our solution section. So problem, you're painting the problem, what they're feeling now, but don't worry, because we're gonna help them get where they need to go. So I'm gonna copy that headline. And I think, we could use this, but again, I think we can probably do better. So I'm just gonna go ahead and click on Add Section. I'm gonna go back to About and see what we've got here. I think I like this one. It lets us put a few statistics in here, which is kind of nice to help strengthen our argument. So I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to click here, edit text, and I will paste our new headline. And it might be big, right? So I'm just going to click on, let's see what 32 looks like. I think that's better. And then we'll grab our other text here. Just get all of this. Okay, click, edit text. And then we'll paste it all in just like that. And then maybe we don't want it to take up so much space going down. So what if we were to just kind of stretch it out this way a bit? I'm going to take the button and bring it up a bit. I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to move it up just to be a little more in line with the top of the image. I think that's going to be a lot nicer. But I do want to mimic this amount of space. So let's just grab everything. It's easy just to grab everything, which is kind of nice. And then again, we'll eyeball it. So it's about the same amount of space here as here. I think that looks pretty good. So now this is a really good place for showing an image of you. I don't recommend doing that in many places on the site. Your About Us page would be one, and this section would be another. So maybe you want to have a nice photo of you like helping a client, but maybe you're like a lot of people and you don't really have a good corporate headshot. You've got something more like this, right? You're on vacation, you caught a fish. I mean, this guy happens to be pretty photogenic, but let's say you're not. Let's say you just don't take good photos. Like you just hate getting out the camera and you just don't want to do it. So I'll show you another trick here. We can go back to Google Gemini, Nano Banana, create image. And I'm gonna say, turn the man in this photo into a nice candid photo where he's dressed in business casual attire, helping a client in a nice upscale office setting. So, whatever your version of that is, whatever you need it to be. And then we're just gonna drag the photo into it and then submit. All right, let's see what we got. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, and your mileage may vary of how much it's gonna look like you, but Nano Banana does a pretty good job of, mimicking a likeness. Does way better than ChatGPT does and better than like Midjourney does also. So you may just want to take a few stabs at it if it doesn't get it right on the first try, but I'm going to go ahead and click on download. Okay, so then I'm just going to click on the image here, edit image, replace image, and then I'll drag it over and click select. So now we just want to make the colors more in line with our, inspiration site. Maybe we'd want that box to be more of like this kind of green, and then maybe our numbers would be like the lime green. So let's go ahead and just do that real quick. So I'll choose the box, change the color, and I'll pick that color from the site. And then for our numbers here, I'm gonna click on edit text, text color. Then I'm gonna choose our lime green that we already have. And then one more time here. All right, cool. And of course, obviously you would change these to be whatever you wanted them to be, right? Like 500 Google reviews, 17 awards won, whatever you'd want it to be. And then I might just take all of this and move it down a bit. And then this, move it up a bit so it's not really covering her face as much. Very good. So now we've got this Learn More button, but I want it to actually match what we've got here. So I'm just gonna right-click, copy. I'm gonna go down here and I'm just gonna right-click, delete this one. And I'm just gonna just paste that, and then I'm just gonna drag it down into the right position, like so. All right, cool. So now, we've got a lot of extra room here. So we're just gonna take this section height and we're gonna drag it up to about there. Next, we have our benefits section. So we got a headline and we've got 3 benefits here. So let's see what we can do with that. So I'm just gonna click on the section and then click on the trash can. We don't need it. This, our services box, I think could be really good to showcase our benefits. So I'm just gonna grab our copy and right-click, edit text. There you go. We don't need a subheadline here, so I'm gonna right-click, delete. And then I'll probably take all of this and just move it up, maybe to about there. I think that looks good. And I'm just gonna grab all the text and we can just kind of speed run through this. Okay, so we can see that these boxes are not long enough for the text. So what we gotta do is just click on the boxes one by one. I'm actually gonna go for, so this one's the longest, so I'm gonna start here. And I'm going to, okay, so I wanna drag it down, but this text is actually in the way. So I'm gonna put it over here for now. And I'm just gonna drag this down to about here. Let's put this back. Just wanna make sure it's centered and I wanna make sure it's in line with this text. So just make sure that line appears and then that little center line appears and we're good. So then I'll drag this back to about there. And we'll do the same here. I'm gonna get all these out of the way. Okay, drag it to here. We want these to all be the same height. It's not gonna look good if they're not. So then we'll drag this back down in line and this one as well. All right, cool. So then we just need images to cover all of these. And that's gonna be up to you to find something that actually helps visually show what it is we're talking about here. And feel free to go to ChatGPT for brainstorming to see what kinds of things you could show. But I'm just gonna go back to Midjourney. And I just did some quick prompts. And I'm not gonna go over what they all are, but I'm just gonna choose some good ones here that we can use. The main thing is, again, you wanna make sure they all visually go together. You don't really want any that are, like this, you wouldn't want a black and white one next to a color one, for instance. So just make sure they all more or less go together. And I'm gonna grab a few and we can just start popping them in here. So I'm gonna click on the first one, edit image, replace image, and I'll drag this one over and select. And then I'm just gonna do the same for these other 2 real quick. All right, looks pretty good, but let's go ahead and style it up now to look a little bit more like this section. So this background and then the boxes would be kind of a little bit lighter green. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so first I'm gonna choose the section, edit section, background color, section color. So we've already chosen that green, so it's already here. Now just the boxes, let's go ahead and do that. Change colors, and I'm gonna pick color and I'm gonna pick that other lighter green from the other site, and I'll do the same here. Now it should be in there, so I'm just gonna choose it from here. Cool, now obviously the text is unreadable, so we're just gonna go one at a time, and we're gonna change the color to white for all of these. Okay, this is looking pretty nice, I would say, from top to bottom. So let's see what we've got next. All right, so we've got some testimonials. Gonna go ahead and grab that headline. Okay, so what do we have here? We have this testimonial here, but that's not really what we need. We need like a spot for a couple of them. So I'm going to, first of all, let's get at this section height to where it needs to be. Looks pretty good. Then we're going to add a new section. We're gonna go down to testimonials. They do have blocks just for that. And I'm just gonna choose this one, nice and simple. It's got room for 2. So I'm going to edit our headline here and just paste in what ChatGPT gave us and delete this. I don't think we need that. And we'll move all of this stuff up a bit so there's not so much empty space. All right, cool. So by now you know how to change text. You would just change the text to your actual testimonials. You'll change the name. You can change their photos right here with edit image. replace it with the right one. But then of course we want to keep it in line with the rest of the site. I'm going to keep the background white. I think it looks good. But then these boxes, I'm going to change the color to our beige color that we already established. Same thing here. And then for these stars, let's go ahead and make those our lime green color, just so everything kind of fits and matches nicely. All right, looks good to me. Now let's go back over here. So now we have call to action section. Really simple. It's just a headline, some text, and a button. So it should be really simple. It's just giving people one last chance to sign up. And we don't have anything like that here. We have subscribe now, which is not what we need. So I'm just going to click on the section and delete it. I'm going to get rid of this one too. Delete. And I'm going to go ahead and add in a new section. And I think they call their call to action sections main for some reason. So we'll just go with that. And I'm just going to go with something nice and simple. Probably just do this. And I'm going to get rid of the background image. I'm just going to edit section, and I'm going to go to color instead. And I'm going to make it our dark green color. All right, looks pretty good to me. And then we're just going to paste in. So it says ready to elevate your career. I'm going to copy that. And we'll paste it in here, edit text, and I might make it slightly smaller too. I think that's better. And then we'll paste in our subheading text. All right, and then of course we want to mimic our same button. It's really important that it always looks the same and says the same thing. So I'm going to go up here, we've got one right here. I'm going to right click, copy, and paste. Okay, so, and then I'm going to just delete this one and just make sure this is centered and in line there. That looks pretty good. And we might not want as much space on the top and bottom. So again, we're just gonna mess with our section height thing, and let's just kind of get this roughly where we want it, right about there. All right, it's looking good. And I think the only thing we have left here is an FAQ section. So let's just go back, add a section, and they do have FAQ. They do have that. So I'm going to choose something a little different just so that the website feels like it's moving. So we have a lot of headlines on the top. I'm going to choose this one just to give it something different. And then of course you would go through one by one. You would change the text. We don't need to go through that exercise again. We've already done it. And then we've got our footer. So if we click here and just edit section, section color, let's go ahead and just make this our dark green color. And you can change all your information here. You can click here and change your social icons to wherever you want them to be. And we're good to go here. So let's go ahead and get a preview of our page. So we've got a nice hero section, problem, solution, nice little animations you'll notice as things pop in here. I think it looks really nice. But we're not done yet because we do have to see what it's going to look like on mobile. So the way we do that is we click this little mobile icon right up here. And there's probably going to be a little bit of work to do just to make it look as good on mobile as it does on desktop. So when we're in this preview mode, we can't actually edit anything though. So we have to go back to the editor. So now what we can do is we can make certain edits that are not going to be affected on desktop. So let me just show you some cool things we can do to make this look a lot better, because there's obviously some glaring problems here, right? So the first thing we'll do, these three things probably are not needed to be shown on mobile, right? There's just not enough room for them, and they don't really pack enough of a punch to earn their space here. So I'm going to click on each one, and then see this eyeball? That means you can hide it on mobile or desktop. So I'm going to hide it on mobile. It's visible on desktop, hidden on mobile. I'm going to do the same thing here and on this one as well. So they end up just being kind of grayed out here, but you'll see if you go to preview, they're gone. So you will see them represented here, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get rid of them. I'm just going to put them right up top, just right up here, out of sight, out of mind. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this headline smaller. So let's edit text. Let's go for maybe 32. I think that looks pretty good. So our main person over here is like pushed off to the side. So what we can do is we can make this section shorter, and then she kind of pops back in here, but we can't really go too short with it or it just all becomes very, very tight. So I'm just gonna make it maybe something like that where you can still kind of see her. She's off to the side. We'll call it a style choice. And then I'll click our button and let's make sure that it's we can see everything here. Let's put it down here. Let's move this text here. And maybe we want to make that slightly smaller too, maybe 14. And then let's move this. So we're just gonna kind of play around with it, right? A little bit until it looks roughly like how we want it to look. I'm just gonna bring this down and this, and then we can do something like that, just to kind of keep the words off of her face. Then if we click on preview now, I think that looks pretty good. I think that looks pretty nice. Okay, back to editor. So now we're just gonna go down the page and we're just gonna see what else needs to be tweaked. So far, it's looking pretty good. Right away, I feel like this is looking a little awkward. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drag this down. Let's give it a little bit of room. And I'm gonna take this whole box and I'm gonna make it just the same width as the image, exactly, and just do that. And I'm just gonna move these things around to where, I could just eyeball it again, make sure it looks good. Make sure spacing is consistent, that kind of thing. And I'll bring that up, maybe to where it's overlapping a little bit. I think that looks kind of cool. And then bring that up like so. Cool, I think that looks nicer already. I think this all looks all right. This is a little tight down here, so I'm going to move that like so. I think that looks better. All right. Okay, I'm gonna take this, move it up, move that up, and move that up. And then we can kind of just even that out. We got the FAQs. All right, cool. I think it's looking pretty nice, and it only took a few extra minutes of work just to kind of move things around and get them looking really good. So, and then if we click back on desktop, all you have to do now is keep going with the rest of the pages. So you just click on them right on the navigation up here, do the same stuff we already did, where you just kind of, you know how to change text, you know how to change backgrounds, add new sections, delete sections, all that good stuff. So you just go one by one, and then when you're ready to go, just click on Go Live. So the first thing you need to do if you haven't already is grab my coupon code for Hostinger. So click right here to get that. And I do get a small commission when you do, but this is the most affordable way of getting your new site up in minutes. So be sure to get your discount here and also grab the ChatGPT prompt in the description below. Can't wait to see what you're going to create with it.